I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting of Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. It was moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Bouchard. Be resolved that the agenda for the regular council meeting of September 23rd, 2025 be approved as printed. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Move on to land acknowledgement. The Township of Blackbird, Madison acknowledges the Apatipi and Assiniboine Nation traditional territory. We live, play, and work here together, and together we shall build a strong and inclusive community. A reminder to all in attendance that council meetings are recorded and made available to the public on the Township website for review. Do we have any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none, I am declaring a direct pecuniary interest on item 10B. Oh, I'm declaring a direct pecuniary interest because I provided a quotation. It was moved by Councilor Bouchard, seconded by Councilor Campsell. Be resolved that the minutes of the following council meetings be approved as printed. September 9th, 2025 regular and September 16th, 2025 emergency. Questions or comments? All those in favor? It was moved by Councilor Campsell, second by Councilor McCutcheon. Be resolved that the consent agenda items listed on the September 23rd, 2025 regular council agenda be received by council, and that the recommendations and motions contained therein be supported as presented. Questions or comments? All those in favor? It was moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Bouchard. Be resolved that council acknowledge and receive the correspondence from residents as information. Questions or comments? Councilor Allen?
I'd just like to take a moment and thank those residents for their letter, and we appreciate the correspondence because sometimes we don't get that kind of feedback. So to have it in writing and here, it's very nice to hear.
Thank you. We actually, on that note, we have been getting quite a few thank you letters, and not everybody wants the letter to be publicized, but we have received quite a few, I would say, in probably the last 2-3 weeks.
Oh.
So it's a nice growing trend.
For sure.
Call for a vote. All those in favor? Moving on to new business, item 10A. Moved by Councilor Gadry, second by Councilor Campsell. Be it resolved that council received the verbal update on the 2025 AMO conference. That would be us. Councilor Allen, right? So in August, Councilor Allen and I attended the 2025 AMO conference in Ottawa. In a nutshell, we did 2 delegations, one for infrastructure with the Honorable Kinga Surma. We discussed mostly bridges, but infrastructure money and the help for the province to help us with all of that. As well, we had a Hydro One delegation where we asked Hydro One for their help. Not only to help beautify what we've got here for our facilities and our utilities, but also we have a couple of developments coming up that we're going to need some guidance as well as some help. So those were 2 very good delegations we had. Some of the sessions that we attended was we did emergency management sessions. We did an asset management session, a civility and anti-harassment session, developing municipal staff. We did one on housing and land use planning. We did one on the ombudsman and municipalities, and we also did one on municipal finance and economic development. As well, we had a caucus lunch with our Phenom president, which is our award for Temiskaming Shores. All in all, from my point of view, I would say the conference was one of the better ones. We, at these conferences, you network with individuals, but we, not only do we network with some of our local communities that are around us, we also spoke to quite a few communities that aren't even close to us with some different ideas of how they operate on a bigger scale. So it was kind of neat to learn from them. We ran into quite a few ministers here and there, and actually we ran into the Honorable Paul Calandra. So it was close to about the year of our inauguration, the 1 year anniversary of inauguration. So he has some very kind words for us. So it was nice to see that he's still looking over us and making sure we were doing what we said we would do. From my chair, Councillor Allen, did you have any comments as to how you felt the conference went?
I felt it went very well. It was a very new experience for me to go to something like that and just get all the information and see the differences in the municipalities and the problems that they have versus the problems that we have with the different sizes and stuff. Was really interesting to me to see, one municipality have a $10 million tunnel that they have to dig under a 401, whereas our biggest thing is just trying to keep our roads going and keep our bridges going. So it was very neat to see the difference in capacities that we run. Also, the vendors at the trade show was very eye-opening for some of the new innovative things that they were bringing up. We stopped at a few of them, had some conversations about some things that we could be looking forward to in the future. It definitely opened our eyes to some of the different things they have out there that are new and upcoming that we could definitely get our hands on, and especially with some of the grants and things that are going on, we could definitely use those grants towards some of these newer energy efficient things. So I have a lot of business cards from it and I spent a lot of time going through and figuring out what, just meeting people was refreshing to hear that they understand our concerns when we were bringing them up. And some of them did have responses for us right away, and other ones we had to email afterwards. But for the most part, we were getting responses from everyone that we had concerns with. So it was nice that they all wanted to kind of work together with us.
Good. The only other thing we learned was if you park late at night and you don't pay the parking meter, it's very expensive in Ottawa. Very expensive. My mistake. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Puts on to 10B, and I'm leaving. Councillor Bouchard, you're up. Second.
B, accessibility application grant. Whereas council supports initiatives that improve accessibility and equal access to services within the township, be resolved that council authorize a grant of $2,500 from the township's accessibility grant program to Joe Latterer to improve accessibility at the Canada Post location in Matheson, conditional upon providing proof of installation. Moved by Councillor Bouchard, seconded by Councillor McCutcheon.
Any questions?
I presume we have funds set aside for this grant?
Through the chair? Yeah, the funds were approved by council through resolution for the accessibility committee.
Any other questions? Mr. Council?
Thank you. I think this is a great use of the funds. I mean, the post office is a very well used area, and having a door that opens easily for even people that aren't handicapped, especially when they're going in there with boxes and whatnot, right? I'd like to see both doors be done actually, but we can start with one, maybe work at another next year.
Any other comments? So all in favor? Approve. Thank you.
You went all the way out, I heard the door shut on you.
You ran away.
You ran away.
Thought he had time to go home and eat.
Thank you, Councillor Bouchard. Moved by Councillor Cancel, second by Councillor McCutcheon. Be it resolved that council receive report CLK 2025-030 regarding quorum challenges on the Committee of Adjustment. And that council dissolve the current Committee of Adjustment comprised of 2 council members and 4 public appointees and reconstitute it as a Committee of Council comprised of all members of council effective immediately. And that staff be directed to update the committee's terms of reference to reflect these changes. So a little story behind this is our last 3 Committee of Adjustment meetings have been canceled. And any risk that's going to that committee relies upon the decision that comes from that committee. So I don't know how many individuals we have, but I'm aware of 1 individual that's waited over 3 months now to receive a decision to move ahead. And whether it be we're not receiving quorum because of a council member or receiving quorum because of the residents, you know, it's being summer and cottages and kids programs, all sorts of that. So there's a billion reasons why we didn't have quorum, but the fact of the matter is that we're doing a disservice to our community members and people that want to grow and expand their lots, their homes, their whatever they need. We need to be better situated to serve them immediately. The other advantage to this resolution is currently we only do 1 meeting per month. If we dissolve it and we do it at committee of council, we have a council meeting twice a month. So if you miss the deadline for a Committee of Adjustment application, you're only 2 weeks away, you're not a month away. Because it's every 2 weeks. So the committees of council, we would meet prior to our regular council meeting for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, depending on the load, to discuss the recommendation that would be coming from staff. And we would make the decision based on that. So that is the background on that resolution. So I'll open the floor to questions or comments from council now. Councilor McCutcheon.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. So the quorum issues for this committee was it summer, just people, like, was it anomaly, life got in the way? I don't think, I can understand why we would want to drop it down. But again, we want community involvement in our council, in our committees. So either another option, I don't know how feasible it is, would be to make it so council could pick up the load when for this, like this committee or any other committee, where they don't have quorum for a while because life gets in the way or something. And we could step in and clear the load or help, rather than just completely abolishing public committee, right? And we could actually make it so that councilors can sit on any committee, so when the town clerks and town manager puts out for a meeting, it's weeks in advance, and if somebody can't make it, then he can send out an email to us, because one of us could sit on that committee. We could move to any one of them, be that person in the middle of it, to help the committees prop them up when they're missing a person. I'm just, we work so hard to get people involved in committees, and now here we are, we're just, all right, off with the knees, and we'll just take it. I think we should maybe, because I agree, we can pick up the backlog, but you clean it up.
Some of the issues there would be that we have a terms of reference, so we would have to change that, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But secondly, either we take complete control or we leave it as it is, because if we put it open to the point where if residents can't make it, we take over or we help out, then all summer long, it's just gonna be us, right?
Yeah.
And it's not only with this committee, a lot of our other committees, we do doodle surveys constantly. And it's not just our community. We just had a town manager and Hanji and I just had another meeting canceled for this Thursday because it's summer and someone else got distracted, so. Mr. Lefebvre had his hand up for a comment there.
Yeah, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. Great idea. I understand the concept, but under the Planning Act, I believe you either have to retain or delegate that authority. I don't think you can do both.
Well, that answers my question.
Yeah, that's your new question.
Why'd it take you so long to answer that? Evidently for nothing.
Councillor Gathering.
Formerly, I was on that committee, and the meetings were every 2 weeks, if we had any
Application?
applications. Was it not?
I'm gonna,
Through the chair, our meetings are pre-scheduled at the start of the year through the terms reference, and they've always been once a month on the third Wednesday.
Okay. I was a little bit concerned about having just council on the committee, but at the same time, I do understand that this has to happen. We can't wait
Yeah.
because people's lives are,
Mhm.
being disrupted.
Mhm.
So I do understand the position we're in.
yeah, this is no slight on what the 4 residents have done for us, the 3 residents have. They're, some of these gentlemen and have put a lot of effort into this, it's just that it's not working this year, it's really not working, and as we're trying to be progressive as a council, and all of a sudden now we're slowing everybody down. We're now doing our planning in-house, so the information that the original committee would receive versus what we would receive is gonna be the same, this is gonna be the same advice. So we'll be able to turn it around faster. Councilor Goddard?
Can we do it just till the end of this term? And then revisit it after?
I think, yeah, probably.
Through the mayor. Yes, terms of reference are established at the start of each term, but they can also be amended anytime by council.
Thank you.
So in the new incoming council would have to change it back to 2 councillors and residents.
You have to reestablish the terms at the start of each council anyways.
Okay.
So we can either continue it as is newly adopted, or we can revert back to the original system. It's completely up to the new council.
Any other questions or comments from council? Councilor Allen.
So for council to take this over, now we've taken it over, and now it would be before, so we need the same quorum as we were having a meeting. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So as long as we're having a council meeting, we have quorum to do these applications.
okay.
Counselor Allen.
is when we have these meetings, these are public so that community members can be here to. I don't know about the Committee of Adjustment. I haven't been on it, so I don't know if that's open to the public for people to visit or.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's open and the applicants can be here.
Okay.
And I think anyone opposed can be here as well, voice their concern, yeah.
Okay, that was more or less my concern, was to make sure that the public still had an option to voice their concerns if.
Yeah, it's,
there
we're not
wasn't-
changing the venue or the rules, we're just changing who is going to make the decision.
Yeah.
Just to be in a more timely fashion. Any other question, comments? I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Very you. And it was moved by Councillor McCutcheon, second by Councillor Campbell. Be it resolved, the council receive report CLK 2025-031 administrative title changes as information. And that council approved the retitling of the positions town manager to chief administration officer, CAO, and deputy town manager to deputy chief administration officer. And that staff be directed to update all relevant bylaws, organizational charts, corporate documents, and communication to reflect the change with no alteration to duties, responsibilities, or compensation. So this is pretty basic as how it as it's laid out in the resolution. And Councillor Allen, you would have noticed that when we were in AMO, people were saying, you know, ask a question, say, well, we'll talk to our town manager, and people were confused by town manager thinking that we had a CAO, but the town manager reported to the CAO, and it's no, we have a town manager, and he's the one that controls everything. So we kind of like we're almost losing credibility in front of people where you know, we're going to report to someone lower than the CAO, and the CAO is, in this case here, we're just asking for a title change. A lot of our policies still say CAO and deputy CAO, which has helped quite a bit for Anji's job, but it is a lot for when we're meeting with DSAB or some of the ministers that we've met in the last little while, just to that they know that we have a CAO and that we're up there with all the bigger communities. So I will open this up for questions from council. Councillor Bouchard.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Like, I understand some of the political issues with having the name we have. But you have to remember that our history with CAOs is not good. And like, to me, that would be the third person, the fourth person that would put in as CAOs, from my understanding. And I know, for me, I don't see the relevance of doing it, and the CEO has different qualifications, I think, than, like, I'm not aware of all the qualifications of the two people involved and stuff, but are we not opening the door to other issues? I'm not sure. It's just a question.
To give you an answer from here would be that nothing is changing other than the title. Qualifications are still the same.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're in a position where we're gonna start interviewing for a CEO and our current town manager doesn't have the qualifications. A CAO can have any qualifications that they want, because a CAO of a town is different than a CAO of a railroad company, is different than a CAO of a Zamboni company. So here we're just doing it for ease of what we do in the community, but also for presence when we're out asking for funding, which we're doing a lot of now. We're trying to, it's in no sense looking poor and being poor. We're trying to look rich, but ask for money because we're poor. We'll go to Councillor Allen first and then come back.
Is there any way that we could, instead of. So part of the thing of us coming into council and everything like that was to we wanted to remove that CAO title because we didn't like that. And a lot of our public didn't like that as well. They agreed with the town manager as being more of a I don't know, gives us more of a hometown feel, makes us feel closer to the people that are running our township. So is there a possibility that instead of changing it completely from town manager to CAO, could we put a town manager / CAO? Because I think that the town manager position within our community might mean a little bit more to the community, even though it might not politically look as good, but I think to our community, it makes us feel more closer to what's going on. So I don't think removing the town manager completely would be a great idea, but maybe putting like a slash, and that way we're not like everything, corporate documents, everything like that. We just changed it from CAO to town manager not too long ago. Like,
Not all of them yet, no.
no, but just so that way we're not repurchasing and everything. We can kind of reuse some documents or things
Mhm.
down the line. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to see too much money go out the window just because we're changing a name or a name title.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of that hometown feeling that you described. In the last year, I think I know we've come leaps and bounds to where we were with our previous staff, 100%. Our office is downtown. I'm probably digressing, but our office is downtown now. People can walk in, people can ask questions. Our current town manager / director of public services is in and around the community, driving around in a truck. People see him. 2 weeks ago, our town manager was spreading sand at the base of the playground.
Mhm.
We've never had that ever before in our community. So if we're trying to look at it where retitling is going to take away that the responsibilities where the individual isn't going to reach out to residents, I honestly don't think that that will change, that commitment to the residents is there, that in previous years, we never had a CAO at a candidate celebration or community barbecue. We never had a clerk treasurer there. We've had it all this for the last year. So I think when you come to the small town feeling, hopefully we can keep that small town feeling with moving forward. Mr. Shiger.
All right, just to clarify, one, I didn't ask for the title change. Just be open and transparent. Two, there is no money associated to changing the title. Three, most of our documents still say CEO. So there's a handful of titles that say town manager. Most of our legal documents still say CEO. That being said, you could call the person in my position whatever you want. The amount of authority that person has comes through policies and bylaws that get passed at that table. So you could have a CEO, you could have a town manager, you can have a director of public service. Unless you pass bylaws at that table that give the person in my position the authority to act on behalf of council, it doesn't matter what your title is. Just so it's not like by changing the title, I magically grow a new set of wings where I could do what I want.
No.
Okay, just to clarify those things. Anyone who works with me can vouch that I'm not big on titles. But I do spend quite a bit of time explaining to people that I'm the town manager / director of public service. So if you wanted to go CEO / town manager / director of public service, I'm gonna start to get a little, long-winded, and people are gonna ask me, what do you actually do soon, right? So.
Just say everything.
Yeah. We do have a great team, what is helping, at every stage. So I just wanted to clarify that there's no money, there's no power, there's nothing.
No.
That gets granted just with the title change.
And having said that, the title on his door is still in a piece of masking tape with magic marker on it, so. He's got the less power of everybody in the office right now. Councilor Bouchard?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. like I see here, it says all the municipalities that use the CAO, but is there any that use town manager that we know of?
I will refer to Honji. I think you did some
Like how many-
research.
To the mayor, I can't confirm right now, I can look into it. I'm certain that not everybody uses CAO, but at the end of the day, the top administrative level still has all the same responsibilities as Mr. Jagger said.
I believe from Engelhart up, it's CAO. From what from the people that I've met. Right through to Hearst and Fauquier, it's all CAO. Councilor Bouchard?
Yeah, I think it would have to be changed to hands-on CAO.
Yeah.
To me, like CEO is the person that sits in his office, that's how I envision it, where Mr. Jiguer is definitely a hands-on type of person.
Yep.
No,
Absolutely. Well, I commend him for going and spreading sand at the playground. I don't know if he was on the playground more than he was spreading sand.
Say that.
Any other questions or comments from council on this resolution? Councilor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just like that this change doesn't come with a 30-page, wow, the
Delegation.
word's gone.
Report?
No, not a report, but
Contract?
Delegation of authority.
contract.
Oh, okay. Well, that's, and the proposal is nothing will change.
Yeah,
Just the title.
exactly.
Any other question, Councilor Goddard?
Yeah, I think it's just. Like Councillor Bouchard said, we haven't had we haven't been lucky with CAOs. Kind of leaves a bad feeling because. We got into a jackpot that I don't want to go back into.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's a title.
Yeah, you're right. It's a title, and as long as we're confident in where we've gone, well, we've gone 1 year, but our staff has gone 7 months. We've come leaps and bounds, so. A title is just a title. It's the work that's behind the people. And I'll digress again, but I can say in our new office. Staff is happy, morale's up. They're laughing and giggling, getting work done, people are smiling, something that. Is a credit to where we as council directed this place to go a year ago. And our 3 top staff where they have taken that since we handed over the reins to them, so. That's just a digress, sorry. Any other questions or comments from council before I call for a vote? Call for a vote on that resolution. All those in favor? Thank you. Moved by Councillor Gallagher, second by Councillor McCutcheon, be it resolved that council directs staff to incorporate a review of vacant property incentive programs into the 2026 community improvement plan. I'll ask Councillor Campbell to further that discussion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we see Matheson slowly growing, there is a lot of prime vacant commercial property along the highway that hasn't been used in years. And I guess the city of Gold Lake figured out a way to, I don't know if it's increased taxes on these properties over a certain amount of period or incentivize the owners to either build or sell somehow. I'm not exactly sure what they did, but in here it's, I don't know, I'm looking for our staff if we can get direction in some way to go about doing something similar.
Okay, and we'll put that into the community improvement plan for next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is, I believe, a third party doing that community improvement plan.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, right now, we're just gathering intel on what it would cost to be able to implement it into the 2026 budget. To start that process. It's gonna take probably most of 2026 though to get that exercise done, but it's.
Okay. On that note, Mr. Giguere and Mr. Lee have been very proactive in trying to sell any properties that we have, and they've also been in contact with people that own existing properties along the highway in the corridor for people that are coming in that want to build. So they're redirecting them to the empty lots that are being unused in advance of doing this, just in an effort to get the empty lots filled up. So we, as without a community improvement plan, we're still trying to do the same thing, but Councillor Campbell, yeah, like you say, is to put some sort of incentive in there to not leave it vacant forever. Any other question or comments from council? Okay, I will call for a vote. All those in favor? Move on to reports. It was moved by Councillor Campbell, second by Councillor Bouchard. Be it resolved that council acknowledges the receipt of DPS 2025-013, the July and August monthly report, as attached for information purposes. Any questions for the Director of Public Service? Councillor Allen?
I just have a comment. Love seeing the brushing and ditching happening around Holtire. I've seen it all through Tamarack and Ross Street, and it does make a really big difference. And I really appreciate seeing stuff like that getting done, because it just means we're kind of headed in the right direction. So it's very nice to see these things being completed.
You stole my thunder.
You're welcome.
There goes my question. Any other questions from council on that report? Councillor McCutcheon.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question, the gravel application to the roads. Do we have a list of roads that are getting gravelled?
Thank you for the question, Counselor, and through you, Mr. Mayor. Because we had a pretty big failure on Monaghan Road this spring that cost us roughly $100,000 to get that culvert replaced. It happened at a time before we actually applied any gravel anywhere else. So to try to get as much gravel as we could still out of the budget that was allocated, we just got a stockpile brought to the yard. So as we've been grading roads, the areas that are in dire need, we've been then spreading just a little bit of hay gravel on top of the areas that are absolutely in desperate need of some. Start of October, we're going to be looking at what we need for 2026, looking at certain roads and getting a tally of kilometers and getting that in for the 2026 budget.
Thanks.
Any other question from council? Call for a vote. All those in favor? Moved by Councillor McCutcheon, second by Councillor Campbell. Be it resolved that council acknowledges the receipt of CLK 2025-025 July-August monthly report, clerk, as attached for information purposes. Questions or comments for the clerk? You're off the hook. Call for a vote. All those in favor? Moved by Councillor Gadry, second by Councillor McCutcheon. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of T 2025-29 July-August monthly report, treasurer, as attached for information purposes. Questions or comments for the treasurer? Councillor McCutcheon.
Mr. Mayor. When do we have to start scheduling meetings for budget? So we don't get jackpotted. And yes, I meant to do this.
Just you know, we're just prepping, but in October, they should have stuff to me. We'll go over department heads we should start scheduling meetings with council, hopefully. Latter November, we want it passed in January, so.
Mr. Jagger?
So just to add to that, and I'll try to save Sonia a couple of breaths here. So we're gonna start scheduling meetings, hopefully start in November. That being said, if counselors have things in their ward or throughout the community that they would like to see added to the preliminary worksheets, send that to us now. Like, send it to me tomorrow, yesterday, the next day, so that we can start building it into our 2026 budget. If you have like a wish list that you want to be added, except for Councilor Al.
I'm going to just have two comments. I'm not gonna make you speak, Sonia. But the one section where it says budget information, budget standings. I've never seen that before. I think that is pretty unique. That is pretty cool. You can look at it in a bullet form to see that there's 20 or 30 major items that we had wanted. And we can look at that and not have to ask, you know, where's the baseball field? Well, we know that it was in the budget, the survey is complete. So I think that's a great portion of your report. I also like under banking where we have canceled the Brinks pickup, saving our residents $6,000 a year. So to you and your staff, kudos. Any other questions or comments from council? Call for vote. All those in favor? It was moved by Councillor Bouchard, second by Councillor Campbell. Be it resolved that council acknowledge the receipt of MCO 2025-12 RE September report as attached for information purposes. Questions or comments from council? No. Okay, thank you. Call for vote. All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor McCutcheon, second by Councillor Cancel. Be it resolved that council acknowledges the receipt of DR 2025-008 and DR 2025-009 July and August monthly reports, recreation as attached for information purposes. Questions or comments for Ms. McIntyre? Councillor Bouchard.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just have a question for the, I read in there that we're gonna be putting in some new cells for the dump, especially in Matheson. Definitely the one that was previously put in was, I don't think was deep enough. It's like it's already full, which is, I don't know if it's even been 8 months. It hasn't been a year yet.
No.
So it was only, looked like it was only about 8 feet deep. Hopefully we're gonna go quite a bit deeper and and the second item is it seems that everything's being dumped in the hole, like even clean wood and stuff. I've been there multiple times. And it's causing undue hardship on ourselves if we're putting material in there that shouldn't be in there. And I think the third item is that I'm not sure what protocol is with the attendees at the dump, but they should be aware of what you have in your vehicle or what you're bringing in and stuff. Because as you can see, we've got some issues right now with what was brought in. So, okay.
Did Mr. Jaguar or Ms. McIntyre want to respond to that?
Through the mayor, so the first part with the smaller cell, absolutely it was smaller. The reason why it was smaller is because the previous people that were hired to dig the previous cell did not map it out. So they encroached on the other beside its cell, which made it that we now have a smaller cell.
Okay.
Story Environmental has it very mapped out, and that is how we're supposed to use it. So because of that, unfortunately, we ended up with a trench. It was very small. We cannot dig down. I was given the go-ahead today from Story Environmental, who were at Matheson and Beldani landfills. We can go down 1 foot deeper in Matheson. Any further than that, we're encroaching on the water table. So we cannot, thankfully, it's not like that in Valdanye. We can go very, very deep in Valdanye, so that's good. So they came out today, they mapped out 2 cells, so there will be 2 cells that will be opening. We still need to close off and cap off the current one. And then it will be, we can move on to, cell 6 and 7. As for the dumping of everything, so if the wood has been treated at all or has nails, it's now considered dirty wood. It cannot be burnt. Unfortunately, we don't have a pile that addresses, construction or building, when it's dirty. So unfortunately, with our C of As, which is the rules of what is allowed to be dumped in the pit, we have to follow those, which means the rest goes in the pit. So unfortunately, it does fill up the pit, absolutely, and especially when you're only dealing with a small trench, it did go very quickly. We knew that it would. So that's why they're out there, and they're, like I said, they're mapping out 2 cells that will be opened very shortly. Valdanye will also be getting it opened, and like I said, fortunately, Valdanye, we can go very deep with that. I don't know if Jill wants to.
Just maybe to finalize, we have been spending time with staff going through the C of As, making sure that they understand what is accepted at what landfill, making sure that they understand the do's and don'ts. And actually, Lisa spent some time out there this week already with the attendees to make sure that they're understanding and talking to residents and making sure that they understand what they're allowed to bring and not bring. And we're going to continue to pay closer attention to the monitoring, as well as asking people to provide us identification of their residents, so that we know that they're allowed to dump within our community. We were told that there's possibly some people coming from neighboring communities. You know, it's very easy to go on Google Maps and say, I live on such and such street at such and such number. And if your tenant isn't from the area, doesn't know everyone, they have been just taking down the name and saying, okay, go ahead, right? So we sent out a letter at the beginning of the week, and just to advising residents that they're going to start asking to prove their residence as well. We're going to work on something for the cottages as well to make sure that we're properly capturing everyone. You know, we've had 1 or 2 residents come to us with some concerns. In the spring, we did do a cleanup in Madison and in Valdanye, and we felt good about the cleanup. We felt like we captured what we wanted. We started segregating materials again. But obviously we need to spend a little more time here on ensuring that those protocols are being followed. So that's where we're going to be concentrating this fall.
Good, thank you. You have a question? Councillor Allen?
So I've noticed when I go to the dump, I don't go very often, but when I do, every time I go in, I talk to the attendant and I ask, I say, this is what I've got. Where do you want me to put it? And they walk me through. This is where everything is. Now, I already know where everything is, but as a courtesy, it's the attendant's job. So I ask the attendant. What I do find is that a lot of the people who come through there when I'm there are people who are regulars at the dump, who come there all the time, and they're not stopping and asking. They're driving, like they'll stop, say, yes, here's my name, whatever, and then they're going straight to the pit. No matter what, they're going straight to the pit. And I've seen it before when I've been dumping years ago, more so than lately. I haven't been there as often, but I've watched them take all the trash bags off top and then pull a lawnmower into the thing, or pull a this into the dump where it's not supposed to be. So personally, from my experience, I find that it's people who are there more often than not that are hiding things underneath. Whereas when I come with a trailer load, I know what I'm coming with and I ask, what do you want me to do with this? You tell me. So I think a lot of the regulars are going to be a little frustrated once they're being inspected a little more closely, but I think that that has a lot to do with the stuff just being dumped all in one place out of. Well, let's be real, when you're going and you're pulling things out of a trailer, it's not the easiest, so you tend to want to dump it all in one spot instead of having to go from place to place and pick through stuff. But they have to realize that that's the rules, so that's just my 2 cents on that.
Councilor McCutcheon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The guy, I saw it in VG. The dump attendant there, like, she is behind the 8 ball right out of the gate. Cause she's up at the shack taking the name and stuff. And then where the pit and the bins and everything's located is like 100 feet away. So she, like, I can drive through there and say, I got 5 bags of garbage and 4 recycle. I can drive right up to the pit, shove it all at the back of the truck, and she's none the wiser because she's way up there. I think it's a staffing issue. We need more people in there to say, no, you can't put that there, that goes over there, that goes over here, that goes there. I think the whole thing for this whole education purposes, everybody knows recycling is supposed to go in the bins. Everybody knows this is supposed to go over there.
Mhm.
Well, no way around, it's going in the pit.
Exactly.
You need somebody at the pit.
Mr. Jager?
So we can try to do one or two things. If the appetite for council is for us to increase the amount of attendance per landfill for 2026, we could look at putting that into the budget. The other thing is, me and Lisa were talking, we want to try, like, the one in Madison for sure needs to be moved because where the new cell's gonna be. In Val Gagne, the cell's coming closer, so there could be an opportunity to move the shack, so to speak. So that there are more there, but at the end of the day, if she's taking down or if he's taking down your information and there's 3 people in the landfill. Unfortunately, she can only do one thing at a time.
Mhm.
So if we think people are intentionally illegally dumping and that with positive enforcement is not gonna be enough. Then the only other thing to do is either limit the amount of people that go in the dump at once to where she has it closed and sorry, there's 2 people there. She watches the 2 people dump, and then they come out, 2 more people go in. I'm using 2 as a number, not saying it's gonna be 2.
Mhm.
Or we increase the amount of attendees at the dump. If we increase the amount of attendees at the dump, it's going to increase our dump costs.
Mhm.
So we can look at, we can look at coming back with a report next month on a couple of different options on what the cost would be associated. If that's what the appetite is, if you're telling me you're already certain you wanna go a certain way, then we can look at it, but. If we increase the amount of attendees, it's just gonna increase the cost. But the cost of us not dumping properly is far more. Higher than making sure that things go to the proper location. So, we'll wait for your direction.
Councilor Gabby?
As far as ensuring that it's only local residents who dump at our dump sites. Could we not go to a system of people buy a pass for the year? So that way you know.
Yeah, but you're referring to like an identification card,
Yeah,
so I could give that to my brother-in-law. Right, Councilor, Mr. Jager?
So,
We
in
have this
Iroquois Falls, and I only know Iroquois Falls because that's where I live. So they have an identification card that is attached to a license plate. So when you show up at the dump, your card has to match the license plate on the vehicle as well. So it goes with the name, so you have to be able to prove your driver's license is the same name on your card. And that the license plate has the same number as on your card. Now, with us even just asking for a license, right? People are being able to show us their address right now, so it's helping. The only issue we can run into is people saying, I don't feel comfortable showing you your license, right? So that could be the other thing, but that's what we're asking for right now, for people to prove where their residence is.
but having a pass would also provide a bit of a revenue. You could charge people like $10 a year or $20 a year.
Mhm.
And at least that would help towards the cost of the dump.
Yeah. Well, it's if staff does come back next month with a report, that could be part of the report as another generating revenue.
Sure.
Councilor Bouchard?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just a suggestion without going overboard, I think. We could start with just the primary thing would be just to ask the attendants to at least take a peek. In the trailer, like just get out, take a peek, yeah, that's what you have. That it matches what the person says, it's an extra couple of minutes without. Actually being physically at the dump site, at least if they physically, when I show up there usually about every 6 weeks with a truckload of garbage bags. Well, I've never had to open the back of the truck, but you open the back of the truck, say, yeah, I've got 4 recycling bags, I've got X amount of garbage bags, this is what I have. It's an extra couple of minutes without going to the extreme. The next thing is maybe just a suggestion, but I've been there when the new company dumps. With their truck after they do garbage there, and it leaves a pile from there to there on the ground. So maybe if you're gonna have 2 cells in Matheson, maybe consider having a cell just for them, strictly for them, where they have a good berm to back up to. And that'll give you less handling of the garbage after, because when they come with 2 dump trucks, like it's from here to the wall, then you gotta push it in the hole and stuff. So that's just a suggestion, maybe that would help us for now anyways in the interim.
Mr. Jagger?
I think, all good ideas, and like we've already started, this week having conversations with the attendees to make sure that they're actually checking what's in the loads now, and not just taking down a name and saying, yeah, okay, you're good to go, so. If that's all that council wants as the first step, we could do that and monitor it for a while and report back. Or if you want us to come back with a more detailed report on what you briefly talked about, we can also do that, just give us direction and we'll get her done one way or another.
Councillor Allen?
Is there any cameras at the dump? For people going in and out or anything like that? Okay, secondly, that would also be an idea, is even just having a camera at the entrance. So that when people come in and when you log down who it is, you put a time beside it. So that it's kind of timestamped, so that if for whatever reason the attendee does have to walk back there and sees a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have been dumped there. You can at least go back to the time frame and go, okay, well, these people were here within this time. And have an idea as to at least to try and. Because some of the people who are doing these things are knowingly doing it. So trying to maybe enforce some things and be able to push back a little bit.
Mr. Jagger?
So, I feel like I'm stealing these at the dump here. A little bit, but, so we looked at different cameras and even to try to put a Volkswagen into baseball field because we were going through a couple of things out there. And we have power there, but no internet service, and it's a challenge to find the proper camera that could do what we actually need it to do without the internet service. So out at our landfills, without really having power and or internet, other than setting up like a game cam, it might be a little pricey to get something that would actually function out there.
Okay.
And I think if we get to the point where we have to set cameras because we can't trust people, then we could look at like our bylaw officer, could be doing enforcement. I've been having conversations with Mr. LaFave this morning, and our bylaw enforcement officer is already aware that he's gonna be spending some time out at our landfill, basically being the second pair of eye that's gonna just randomly show up when people are dumping to see what they're dumping. So, if I believe if our attendants educate our people coming in and actually verify what are in the vehicles and make sure that they know that the residents of our municipality, and our bylaw officer goes into random checks, and Lisa and myself spend some time out there through October and November to ensure that those things are happening, we should see an improvement. And if we don't, then we could look at increasing measures to ensure that those things start happening. But I would like to at least give the opportunity to staff to put the things that we've already put in motion in place to see if we have a positive, kind of interaction, and if not, then maybe come back in November and go, it's not working. As a first, but if you guys want cost analysis on what it's gonna be for more people there, we can do that.
Is council okay with letting staff run it for a month and see where we end up, and then come back, and if it's not working, then we'll work on better education, more staffing, cards, identification, all those options?
Yep.
Staff's okay with that, all right? Any other questions for Ms. McIntyre? Counselor Allen?
I just wanted to commend her for all her hard work in recreation because I've been to a few of the events and it's very nice and always she just consistently outdoes herself. So kudos to you, madam.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, I'm gonna take the opposite approach. I take always a positive approach. So I'd like to say we're past our 1 year anniversary of not receiving any hate letters about our cemeteries. So
Oh, yes.
we have
Too.
come a long way, long way. And I think Ms. McIntyre told me today that one of our employees was actually buffing a couple headstones here and there in his spare time as she was walking by. So good to not have to deal with issue like cemeteries, which is very, very close to our heart. Our outdoor rinks, if you read in the report, they're well on their way. We're puck boards galore coming in. I believe you have all the volunteers handled and how we're gonna do that, or is that something the staff or that council needs to get involved in and we're good to go?
Through the mayor, Mr. Jiguer and I will be discussing that and getting more of a plan in place, because unfortunately last year, Full Tire, we appreciate the time that Mr. Madigan put in. It's not, but we'd like more of a consistency, a schedule, so that all of the ranks are exactly the same.
Okay. Should put a shout out to Iroquois Falls, and they lent us their sprayer again this year. So maybe some point we'll have our own, but in the meantime, just keep borrowing, yeah. In the meantime, it's great that we have two communities that work together to help each other. The last is minor hockey. We're at a U7, a U9, and I think a U5 or 15 team. So that board has come a long way, and it's cool to see that hockey is going to be coming back here very, very soon. Mr. Jiguer?
Not to be the negative guy in the room, but we are still having major issues with our humidity. As we know, our humidity dehumidifiers, both of them decided not to turn on when we went to turn on the plant. So we do have a slight delay. The new ones are slated to be here the week of October 11th, if I recall correctly, Lisa. So we do have 6 rental units from Battlefield that Lisa had to work very hard on getting. It's barely keeping up, as you can see. It's better, but it's not great. So our installing the ice has been delayed or slowed down. But on the positive note, if we would have had our ice in, we would probably have already had more ice rentals this year than we would have last year. So Lisa's done a very good job in getting our town out there and that we have ice. And fortunately, it's been delayed with our dehumidifiers. So Lisa's working hard to get that rectified, and we're gonna try to get it done by second week of October.
Very good. Any other questions, comments for Director of Recreation? Call for a vote. All those in favor? Moved by Councilor Guthrie, second by Councilor Bouchard. Be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of FC 2025-07 and FC 2025-08 July and August monthly reports, fire department, as attached for information purposes. Any questions or comments from council? Councilor Guthrie?
One thing that keeps coming up on the report is that curb at the fire hall in Valgagny.
It's gone.
If you look at the August report,
It's done.
at the end of it.
It is done?
Work
Finally
completed.
done.
Okay, thank you.
That's why Councilor McCutcheon didn't put his hand up.
The curb is gone. I'm done for the.
Any other comments regarding the fire department? All those in favor? Be it moved by Councilor Cancel, second by Councilor McCutcheon. Be it resolved that council acknowledge the receipt of library CEO monthly reports for June, July, and August, and receive the minutes of the library board meeting held June 9th, 2025 as attached for information purposes. Questions or comments for library CEO? Councilor Guthrie.
I just want to mention that they had some very good programs running this summer at the library. And just keep up the good work.
Yeah, I will say if, as you read through the 3 reports. The library was a busy place this summer, very busy. And it's when you look at the circulation that goes through, it's pretty
Impressive.
pretty impressive, very impressive. So yeah, again, keep up the good work. Any other questions from council? Call for vote, all those in favor? Moved by Councilor Bouchard, second by Councilor Gadry. Be resolved that bylaw number 2025-57 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the township of Blackburn-Masson be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 23rd day of September 2025. All those in favor? Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Campbell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-59 being a bylaw to adopt a surplus asset disposition policy be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 23rd day of September 2025. Questions or comments? Call for a vote. All those in favor? Moved by Councilor Campbell, second by Councilor Gadry. Be resolved that bylaw number 2025-60 being a bylaw to authorize sale of lands 437 Pearl Street be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed its 23rd day of September 2025. All those in favor? Moved by Councilor McCutcheon, second by Councilor Gadry. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-61 being a bylaw to repeal bylaw 2023-007 staff pay management policy be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed its 23rd day of September 2025. Questions or comments from council? Councilor Bouchard.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Could we elaborate a little bit more on what this is for? It's not very clear what.
Yep, Councilor Jiguer, you want to handle this one?
Not a counselor here, Mr. Mayor, but thank you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's all good. I had the blank, I thought we were back on Monday night here. Yeah, so the wage grid right now for staff is something that we have in place. It has people titles that don't even make sense, that title that are 2 that are now 1 that are 2. And then it holds us to paying those out on certain years regardless of performance. So now what would happen is that obviously it would be part of the budget process. If there was ever any, increments given, it would go through the budget process, what council is a part of. And then just to get it out, obviously, like for myself, then I would only ever get an increase in salary if mayor and council agree to it, not as per a grid that's been set years ago, regardless of my performance. So yes, I'm taking money out of our pockets.
Yeah, I don't know if you recall, Councilor Bouchard, before we had that pay grid, step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You remember that? No, we had that, and regardless of whether you did a poor job or not, it was once you hit that step, you got paid regardless. So what this is doing is putting the onus on us. If we feel our staff or an individual staff member has exceeded it, we can do that change at the time of budget. And it's up to us, it's not up to a grid that we had to adhere by. Councilor Gadry?
It's just for managers or excluded employees?
Mr. Jiguer, I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, so all non-union.
Non-union, thank you.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can't just break the collective agreement, but that we're getting by.
Okay,
It's for all the non-union staff.
hey, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
just because like the increases in that pay grade, if we're being honest, are some of them are pretty big at different stages, and in sitting down with senior staff, we felt that it's not fair to the community for people in our position to just be awarded those wages without it having to go through mayor and council, or without there being any kind of, keeping up to any kind of standard. And then just, oh, on year 3, it doesn't matter, this is what I'm getting. We want to get away from that, so. It's again, just to hold ourselves accountable, not just to be given what we think is ours.
And I think, well, for those of us that remember the grid, it was a pretty nasty grid, and there was hidden lines and footnotes in there, and every time we went to speak about it, it was a different amount than it was 2 weeks ago, which was different than the email you got the day before, and it was,
Damn good.
yeah.
I'll happily get
You'll
rid of
have-
that.
If you want that grid gone. Any other questions or comments from council? Call for a vote. All those in favor? Moved by Councillor Campbell, second by Councillor Bouchard, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-08 being a bylaw to establish an administrative monetary penalty system, AMPS, be and is hereby read a third and final time on this 23rd day of September 2025. Call for a vote. All those in favor? Moved by Councillor McCutcheon, second by Councillor Gattery. Be resolved that bylaw number 2025-09 being a bylaw to establish a procedure for the appointment of screening and hearing officers be and is hereby read a third and final time on this 23rd day of September 2025. Call for a vote. All those in favor? That moves us on to question and answer period. Any questions that we had last council meeting, we entered immediately. So I will open the floor to anybody that has a question. Provided it was on the agenda, and try to answer the question at staff level first. So I'll open the floor. If you want to state your name and your ward, we'll try and do our best. Nope. Okay. You can ask a question. Oh, sorry.
Ward 3.
Yes.
Is there any possible way of having the 8th Avenue Street down towards the hospital fixed in front of the hospital? Because it's all bumpy in that, and if anybody go in the ambulance, they get shook under Washington.
I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Jaguar.
So the short answer is, I'd have to go back and see the exact location. We're noticing throughout all of the communities, there are certain areas that are worse than others, and we're working with a third party right now to try to get us some quotation to come in and do some patchwork in 2026. Because we're gonna be over about $550,000 in pavement spent this year. So it's gonna depend on what's allocated in the 2026 budget on how much repaving we can do for next year. Our initial thoughts are to try to, like in Raymore, for instance, there's lots of areas where the culverts have come up. So to basically just cut out where the culverts are, replace the old culverts with new ones, and then put a patch on top. So it would probably be kind of like the same situation.
Just
Yeah.
across from
It's right by the hospital.
right by the hospital.
I'll go and have a look.
Just
tomorrow.
almost when they turn into the parking lot, they're right there.
Okay, I'll have a look.
Yeah, Jenny Gibson's place.
Okay.
Okay, just gonna read a little piece of information here that the question and answer session was introduced during a time of administrative transition to support public engagement while the township operations were limited. So as the township office is now fully open and staff are available to respond to public inquiries directly, this item will be removed from future agendas. Council remains committed to transparency and encourages the public to reach out through established channels for questions and information. And we also we've answered, or we're going to answer Mrs. Bildo's question next meeting or direct to her?
I'll make sure I have her contact information
Okay.
before we leave, and I'll get her an updated answer within 48 hours,
Starting now.
starting now.
Moved by Councilor Gadry, second by Councilor McCutcheon, be it resolved that this regular council meeting is hereby adjourned at 7:46 PM. All those in favor? Or do you want the?
Thank you. Oh,
uh,
and now it's official.
So you remove the question thing, is that what I understand then?
Yeah.
Who decided that?